1697, Leonardtown, Maryland. A woman by the name of Moll Dyer is accused of witchcraft. The people of the town chase her through Leonardtown until she dies by falling onto a large stone. It is said that she was found months later, still clinging to the rock. It's said in legend that Moll Dyer haunts the Leonardtown areas until this very day, with a few locations and objects feeling her spiritual influence the most. Moll Dyer Road in Leonardtown is said to be haunted and experience abnormal weather. The stone Dyer died on still exists to this day in Tudor Hall, Maryland. It's said to have caused sickness to anybody who comes around it. However, can these supernatural forces be confirmed, or are they just a 17th century rumor?
I'm the operational and administrative head of a 650-member historical society that preserves, protects, and interprets the legends and history and people and events of St. Mary's County, Maryland.
Three Notch Paranormal is a paranormal investigations team. My daughter and I started about 6 years ago. We investigate historical monuments, historical places. We do full-scale investigations with different equipment and try to communicate with whatever spirit, if there's any there.
I've been ghost hunting, paranormal investigating since my children were young, and I never really had any friends that sort of believed in that kind of thing. And when I met Jeannie, she invited me to be an investigator with her, and we've really had some incredible experiences together.
The historical Moll Dyer, or her proper name, Mary Dyer, was born in 1634 in Devon, England, to a William Dyer and his wife Margaret. In 1677, at age 43, she left England aboard a ship bound for St. Kitts as an indentured servant. We know that she was on the ship because its captain, William Thomas, actually had a manifest that showed indeed that she was on the ship as Mary Dyer, and also immigration records in St. Kitts, where the ship arrived, indicated that there was a Mary Dyer on that ship and that had immigrated into St. Kitts.
So I've heard a lot of different variances, but my version was in the late 1600s, a woman named Moll or Molly Dyer, left England, became an indentured servant in the West Indies, ended up in Baltimore, and then she ended up here.
At that time, the St. Kitts, of course, was importing enslaved people as well from Africa. And it's very likely that she had considerable interaction with people from other cultures, particularly enslaved people from Africa, who brought with them various traditions, both of witchcraft, of culinary traditions and so forth.
I think she was probably like a herbalist or someone who worked with, like nature, making remedies and helping people in the area with, ailments, sicknesses and stuff like that.
And then finally, after serving her indenture there, she came to St. Mary's County, arriving first in Baltimore. Her brother Robert went elsewhere in Maryland. She came here to St. Mary's County, very likely as under another indenture. That is lost to history as well.
She lived back on the Bennett property in a little shack or a cottage. And apparently she was squatting, so the people that owned the land wanted her to leave, and she wouldn't leave. So apparently a posse, or whatever you want to call them, witch hunters, got together one very dark, cold night in the winter, showed up at her house with torches, and I think they just meant to scare her out. I didn't think they meant really any harm to come to her. However, she ended up fleeing out the back, and when they found her, she was frozen, draped across this very big rock back in the woods.
In the case of Moll Dyer, they drove her out of her home. Whatever healing she may have tried to achieve, or whatever other things she did or did not do, was enough to anger them. It was late at night, it was cold. She fled. They burned down her house. She went into the woods and was found later against a rock with her hand imprint on that rock. She was found by a young boy out, as the story is told, and he found her laid across the rock.
Anyone who goes to touch that rock should be cautious, is what I do believe.
And we're here at Tudor Hall, studying the Moll Dyer rock. I'm here about a foot in front of it. This is apparently the rock that the Moll Dyer witch died on. It's said to have caused illness to anybody who comes close to it. I'm gonna test if that's true or false. Get me! Get me! I'm not feeling anything yet, and our camera seems to be doing fine. This may be a myth. Here we are in historic Leonardtown. Let's get the people's reaction to the paranormal.
I never heard of it before until a couple minutes ago, but I've seen the handprints for myself, and I think it's possible that she could have been a witch.
That's an illusion, and an illusion, it'll pass away. Only thing don't pass away is attributes of God.
Every week I do take a tour to Moll Dyer Rock just to pay some respects. I do, because it's such a good story.
We have a security camera on the Moll Dyer Rock outside of Tudor Hall, and we see people coming, leaving little trinkets, various types of Wiccan crosses or whatever they might be. There was one evening at about midnight that our cameras picked up 3 women walking around ceremoniously around the rock, one first clockwise and then counterclockwise, or whichever direction it was, and then kneeling and touching it. I think that that's all very interesting. It makes for good stories.
Everything works off energy, or shifts in the atmosphere in the paranormal. A lot of times when a spirit starts to either, trying to communicate with us visually or audibly or what have you, the room temperature can actually drop a couple degrees. And the theory is because it takes so much energy for them to be able to communicate, they're drawing the energy from the pieces of specific equipment we have and through all the communication devices.
Dowsing is an ancient technique said to find bodies of water and minerals. These claims have no evidence. Paranormal experts believe that you can use dowsing to talk to ghosts. We've constructed a pair of dowsing rods to try and communicate with any spirit that lives on Moll Dyer Road. Unfortunately, due to Moll Dyer Road being a private-owned area, we cannot film there for this documentary. But we wanted to do the next best thing. We went to the relatively close Leonardtown Fairgrounds to conduct this experiment. We are about to conduct the dowsing experiment. If it crosses, this means a yes. If it doesn't or pulls away, this means a no. Is the spirit of Moll Dyer residing on Moll Dyer Road? That's a no. Are there any spirits responsible for the weather changes in general or only on Moll Dyer Road? It's a no again. Are there any spirits residing on Moll Dyer Road? That's a no. Are there any ghosts, spirits, or specters, or any afterlife being residing on this earth? This seems like a no to me.
The approach that the citizenry or the constabulary took towards dealing with witches was far different than what the townspeople took when they dealt with Moll Dyer. If she were truly thought of as a witch, she would have been arrested and tried as a witch.
Unfortunately, the word witch has very negative connotations. People think of the black cats and the flying brooms and, that they're bad or evil.
So there was a natural prejudice against a woman, now a somewhat, for the age, elderly woman, living alone, healing or trying to heal with unknown remedies, some of which may have been quasi-spiritual.
And if you want to call her a witch, that's fine, because witches believe in nature. Nature is their church, and they work with nature to help people. So I think she could have been a witch. She was definitely an herbalist or whatever you want to call her. And I think she did. I think a lot of people visited her and she helped them. And I think because she was so different than the others here at that time, she was just, looked at suspiciously.
It's very easy to think, she's a witch. She's doing things which we don't understand. She's different from us. And therefore, we regard her with suspicion.
February 26th is now Moll Dyer Day. It's about time she got some recognition, because she was obviously a real person, and this was her story, no matter what her beliefs were.
It's a wonderful legend. I mean, it has all of the romance that a legend should have. A lonely woman, believed to be a witch, citizens who have been wronged and fearful of witchcraft, picking up arms, even if they be just torches and stones, and chasing her from the home. And I think that's a great legend, and it's one that should be perpetuated as part of the folklore of St. Mary's County and Moll Dyer.
I'm glad that Moll didn't die off as just a legend. I'm glad that she is being respected, and her story is getting out now. A lot happens in history, times change, but that is something that is being kept alive, per to say. And for that rock to be honored and protected now, I think is a good thing.
Whether or not the Moll Dyer witch exists is still up for determination. What we have shown today is only a fraction of what people have experienced over hundreds of years. Is a Moll Dyer witch fact or fiction? Only you can decide.